I swear, when I offered my intern a place to stay for a few days, I thought I was just doing a kind favor. Nothing more, nothing less. She had just moved to the city, was struggling with rent, and didn't really know anyone around. I saw a bit of myself in her, young, driven, trying to make it in a cutthroat industry. So, when she mentioned she was sleeping on an air mattress in a shared apartment with 5 other people, I didn't even hesitate. "You can crash at my place for a while," I said casually. But now, that one decision might cost me everything I've worked for, including my job. I'm not the kind of person who mixes personal life with work. I keep boundaries tight. I've spent almost a decade climbing the corporate ladder, earning the respect of my team, and proving myself again and again. So, imagine my shock when rumors started swirling in the office, whispers that something more was going on between me and the intern. It started small. A few side glances. An odd silence when I walked into the break room. I brushed it off, thinking I was overreacting. But things got worse fast. Her name is Riley. 23, fresh out of college, bright-eyed and ready to take on the world. She was assigned to shadow me during her internship. She asked good questions, took initiative, and was genuinely a fast learner. We got along well, maybe too well in the eyes of others. But I never thought being friendly could turn into something so dangerous. I thought I was being supportive. Helpful. But the lines started to blur, and not from my side. After a couple of weeks of her staying over, little things began to feel off. She started dressing up more than usual at work, always lingering near my desk, laughing a bit too loudly at my jokes. I chalked it up to admiration or just being polite. But one Monday morning, an email hit HR Anonymous. The subject line? Inappropriate conduct between manager and intern. My stomach dropped. I had no idea what she might have said, or if it was even her who sent it. But what scared me most was how fast things spiraled after that. Suddenly, I was being watched. Meetings were cut short. My manager called me in for a private discussion. And worst of all, Riley? She started acting like nothing was wrong. Like we were in on something together. I started questioning everything. Did I misread the situation? Did I ignore signs that this was heading in the wrong direction? I thought I was just helping someone out. I didn't expect to be dragged into a scandal that could ruin my entire career. And now, with the investigation getting serious and HR digging into every detail, I don't even know who I can trust anymore. Was this all planned from the start? Or am I just a pawn in something much bigger? You're not going to believe what happened next. Looking back, I should have seen the red flags. Riley was always asking about my past projects, my connections, even my salary, not in a casual way, but like she was taking notes. She would linger after hours, offering to help with reports she wasn't assigned to. At first, I thought she was just eager to learn, but now I wonder if she was playing a longer game. I live alone in a decent apartment not far from the office. When she moved in, I told her it was temporary, just until she found something more stable. She nodded and agreed, seemed grateful. The first few nights were fine. We didn't really interact much outside work. She kept to herself, and I respected that. But then she started showing up at breakfast, talking about office drama, asking personal questions. She was slowly inserting herself into my routine, and I didn't even realize it. Around that time, some of my coworkers began acting distant. A colleague I'd worked with for years suddenly stopped inviting me to project meetings. I didn't connect the dots at first. But one afternoon, I overheard 2 team members whispering by the elevator. They stopped talking the second they saw me. That's when the unease kicked in. People weren't just suspicious, they believed something had happened. Something I hadn't done. I tried talking to Riley, casually bringing up how the office vibe felt weird. She just smiled and said, "Maybe they're jealous you trust me more than them." Her words stuck with me. Something about her tone felt too calculated. I started keeping my distance, but by then, the damage might have already been done. The lines were blurred, the rumors were alive, and someone wanted me gone. And the worst part? I still don't know why. The email to HR changed everything. I wasn't told exactly what it said, only that it contained serious concerns about my professional conduct with an intern. My heart sank as soon as my manager mentioned it. I tried to stay calm, to explain the situation, but suddenly, every move I'd made felt suspicious under their microscope. Letting her stay over? Poor judgment. Giving her extra feedback on projects? Favoritism. Even small things like walking into the building together were being twisted. At this point, I had no idea if Riley was behind the complaint or if someone else reported what they thought they saw. Either way, the narrative was building without me. HR told me to limit my contact with her while they looked into it, but we still worked in the same open space. She smiled at me like nothing had happened, like we were still some unspoken team. And that scared me more than the actual complaint. Then something even stranger happened. Another intern, Leo, pulled me aside in the hallway. He said, "You're not the first person she's done this with." I froze. When I pressed him for more, he got nervous, said he didn't want to be involved, then walked off. But his words echoed in my head for days. If Riley had played this game before, was this all part of her strategy? Meanwhile, my own work started slipping. I couldn't focus, constantly looking over my shoulder. The tension at the office was suffocating. Meetings were awkward. My team avoided eye contact. My reputation, the thing I'd spent years building, was crumbling. I started wondering if this was bigger than just gossip. Was Riley trying to take my position? Or was someone else using her to take me down? And if so, why now? The pressure kept piling. Every morning felt heavier than the last. I could feel eyes on me the second I walked into the office. Whispers would stop, screens would suddenly close. I was drowning in doubt, and worse, silence. HR said they were still reviewing, but weeks had passed with no update. My manager became distant. Emails I used to get looped into were now skipped. I was slowly being iced out, and Riley? She was thriving. She'd somehow found her way into high-level meetings. Projects that used to come to me were being handed to her. One of the newer team leads even told me she was being groomed for leadership. I wanted to scream. I wanted to demand answers. But I couldn't do anything without looking defensive, or worse, guilty. So I kept my head down, pretending everything was fine while I was unraveling inside. I started digging on my own, desperate to find something, anything, that would explain what was happening. I remembered what Leo had said, and reached out again, this time outside the office. We met at a quiet cafe. He hesitated at first, clearly nervous, but then he admitted something chilling. Riley did this at her last internship too. Got close to a manager, then made a complaint just before her contract ended. They left quietly. Hearing that made my stomach twist. Was this some kind of pattern? Was I just the next target? I knew I had to act fast. My name, my career, my future, everything was hanging by a thread. I started gathering emails, text messages, anything that could help tell my side of the story. I even found old messages from Riley thanking me for helping her, calling me a mentor. But would it be enough? Because then, just days later, HR called me in again. And this time, it wasn't just for questions. When I walked into that HR meeting, I expected another round of stiff questions and vague concerns. But the atmosphere was different. Two people were already seated, my manager and someone from the legal team. That's when I knew this had escalated beyond gossip. They handed me a printed report. I scanned it quickly, and my chest tightened. There were screenshots, photos taken from inside my apartment. At first, I couldn't process what I was seeing. One showed Riley sitting at my kitchen counter, laptop open. Another had us both in frame, sitting on the couch, a work file spread out in front of us. Nothing inappropriate. Nothing even remotely close to misconduct. But taken out of context? They told a very different story. I looked up, completely stunned. Where did these come from? I asked. No one answered. Instead, I was told that a second anonymous tip claimed I was mentoring Riley in exchange for personal favors. They said the photos were submitted as supporting evidence. My heart pounded. My apartment. My privacy. Someone had been inside, or watching from outside. Either way, this wasn't just about a misunderstanding anymore. This was starting to feel like a setup. I tried to defend myself, to explain how Riley had been staying over temporarily, how I had emails proving it was all professional. But they didn't seem convinced. I could tell they weren't just investigating me anymore. They were preparing for possible legal fallout. That terrified me more than anything else. When I left the meeting, I didn't go back to my desk. I went straight home, locking the door behind me, checking every window. My mind was racing. Had Riley planted those photos? Had she been recording things? Or worse, was someone else watching us both? And just when I thought it couldn't get more twisted, I got a message from an unknown number. It read, "She did the same thing to me. Call me. I can prove it." I stared at the message for a long time, debating whether to respond. My gut told me it was a risk, but I was already cornered. So I called. A man answered, voice calm but direct. "My name's Darren. I supervised Riley during her last internship," he said. "She did the exact same thing to me. False claims, anonymous emails, the whole thing. I lost my job. But I've been tracking her ever since." I met Darren the next day. He came with a folder full of documents, HR reports, email chains, and a written apology Riley had sent after he resigned, which he never shared publicly. She admitted to exaggerating the situation because she felt overlooked and wanted to take control of her future. It was all there, in her own words. I felt a wave of anger and relief wash over me. It wasn't just me. I wasn't imagining any of it. Armed with this evidence, I requested another meeting with HR. At first, they were hesitant, until I laid everything on the table. The apology letter from Darren, the pattern of behavior, the timeline that matched mine almost exactly. Then I showed them a copy of a receipt I'd pulled. Riley had ordered a Wi-Fi security cam while staying at my apartment. She had access. It wasn't a stretch to think she might have used it to take those photos. I also found out the anonymous tip had been sent from a temporary email address made using my own Wi-Fi network. HR went silent. My manager looked horrified. Within days, Riley was suspended pending investigation. I could finally breathe. My name was cleared, and the truth started unraveling. But just when I thought it was over, I got a package at my door. No return address. Inside was a single flash drive. I plugged it in, and there it was, video footage. But it wasn't from my apartment. It was from someone else's. A man I'd never seen before, clearly recorded without his knowledge. And just like that, I realized this wasn't just a pattern. It was a game. And Riley hadn't played it alone. I watched the footage on the flash drive again, trying to piece together what it meant. The man in the video looked confused, unaware he was being recorded. Just like me. Just like Darren. That's when it hit me, Riley wasn't working alone. This was deeper than a personal vendetta. It was part of a plan, and she had help. But who? And why? I handed everything over to HR and, at their request, also involved the company's legal team. After a deeper internal investigation, the truth came out. Riley had been in contact with someone in a rival firm. A former employee who had been fired a year ago. He wanted revenge and was using her to get it. Together, they'd been targeting supervisors across companies, setting them up with carefully crafted stories, false allegations, and manipulated evidence. Riley was the face, the bait. He handled the back-end emails, hidden cameras, leaks to HR. Their goal? Take down reputations. Create legal chaos. And once companies removed their experienced staff, the rival firm swooped in, offering clean talent. It was strategic, calculated, and cruel. Riley was immediately terminated, and legal action was taken against both her and her accomplice. Darren and I were both officially cleared, and our names were restored in company records. The company even issued a statement to the team, privately acknowledging the false claims. I went back to work, but I was different. More guarded. More aware. The trust one once had in the workplace didn't come back easily. Still, I wasn't bitter. If anything, I learned the value of keeping personal and professional lines clear, no matter how innocent your intentions are. And more importantly, I learned to listen to my gut. Letting my intern stay over seemed like a small, human gesture. But in today's world, even kindness can be twisted when someone has the wrong motives. I came close to losing everything, my job, my reputation, my peace of mind, all because I didn't see the trap until it was too late. This wasn't just a story about office politics or an intern gone rogue. It was a reminder that not everyone you help wants you to succeed. And sometimes, survival in the workplace isn't just about doing your job, it's about knowing who's really standing beside you.